The CBI team is called in to assist with the investigation into the disappearance of Cody Elkins, a 16-year-old boy who has been missing for several days. Patrick, Jane, and Teresa Lisbon arrive at the scene and meet Van Pelt, Rigsby, and Cho, who are already working on the case. Rigsby brings them up to speed with what is known so far. Local police requested the CBI's help after finding one of Cody's shoes in a sewer, raising suspicions of a kidnapping and possible homicide, a situation that falls under the CBI's jurisdiction. Cody is the son of Michael and Janice Elkins, who own a neighborhood flower shop. The couple also has a younger son, Brad, Cody's little brother. According to the initial information, Cody had been missing for a couple of days, increasing both the concern and the seriousness of the case. While Rigsby and Van Pelt continue briefing Lisbon, Patrick Jane remains focused on his surroundings, appearing distracted but actually paying close attention to everything happening around him. His eyes settle on three young boys riding bicycles across the street, watching the agents work with curiosity. When Lisbon enters the flower shop to interview Cody's parents, Patrick decides to stay outside and approach the boys. Jane picks up a stone about the size of a tennis ball and begins tossing it into the air, catching it skillfully, as if putting on a small show. Little by little, he captures the boys' attention. At one point, he pretends to throw the stone upward and make it disappear, as if it had vanished into thin air. The boys react with amazement. Patrick walks over, casually sits on a pink bicycle with ribbons on the handlebars, and starts joking around, especially with the boy who owns the bicycle, making them laugh and relaxing the atmosphere. As he talks to them, Patrick looks up and notices something that catches his attention: a group of scavenger birds flying in circles in the distance, over a wooded area. That image, combined with the boys' behavior, gives him a clear clue. Jane thanks the boys and rejoins the rest of the team. With complete confidence, he tells Lisbon that he thinks he knows where Cody Elkins might be. Jane leads the team through a nearby wooded area. Along the way, he explains that the boys unknowingly gave everything away through their looks and comments. Finally, they find Cody's body inside a hollow tree, with his hands crossed over his chest, placed in a strangely peaceful and almost ceremonial position. Although the agents observe the scene professionally, the sadness and disappointment caused by the discovery are obvious. Van Pelt visibly struggles to keep her composure. Near the body, Patrick notices something unusual: a wooden star made from branches, deliberately placed there. He carefully picks it up with a stick and comments that it could symbolize black magic or a ritual sacrifice. Lisbon, firm and rational, immediately dismisses the idea of black magic and reminds him that she does not believe in that kind of thing. While local police remove the body, Rigsby gives precise instructions for collecting evidence at the crime scene. Everything indicates that the body was moved there after death, reinforcing the idea that the murder happened somewhere else. Later at the Elkins home, Michael, Janice, and Brad tell Lisbon, Cho, and Patrick when they last saw Cody. Michael explains that the family returned home after Friday's soccer game, and the last time they saw him was at bedtime. The next morning they got up early, but when they returned that afternoon, Cody was already gone. He had also missed an important meeting with his soccer coach that same morning. During the conversation, Brad suddenly gets up and leaves the room, visibly uncomfortable. Lisbon continues interviewing the parents and cautiously informs them that their son's death could be connected to a black magic ritual. Cho asks whether Cody had any friends or acquaintances involved in that kind of practice. The parents react intensely and defensively. They then mention Tamsin Dove, a woman from the neighborhood who claims to be a witch. According to them, Tamsin accused Cody of stealing her cat and placed a curse on him, blaming him for the animal's disappearance. As they leave the Elkins home, Lisbon meets with Van Pelt, who tells her that no conclusive evidence was found at the crime scene, and everything indicates that Cody was murdered somewhere else and then taken to the woods. The preliminary analysis establishes that the death occurred in the early hours of Saturday morning. Cody was brutally struck in the head with a heavy object, causing his death. With this new information, Lisbon organizes the next steps of the investigation. She sends Van Pelt and Rigsby to speak with the soccer coach, since it has been confirmed that Cody and the coach had a serious argument the night before his disappearance. Meanwhile, Patrick, Lisbon, and Cho head to Tamsin Dove's house. As they approach, the place is already unsettling. On the door is a goat's head knocker, and engraved in the concrete step is a clearly visible pentagram. Cho tries to remain professional, but he cannot hide his discomfort with the symbols, which Patrick quietly uses to tease him. There does not seem to be anyone home. Patrick casually offers to force the lock, but Lisbon, following procedure, rejects the idea. At that moment, Patrick notices something familiar. The same three boys from the bicycles are watching them from across the street. He suggests talking to them, but before they can do so, the boys quickly ride away. Meanwhile, Van Pelt and Rigsby interview Coach Dieter, who is known for being extremely tough on his players. Van Pelt confronts him about previously being fired from another team after hitting a player, but Dieter defends his methods, claiming he only wants discipline and results. He allows the agents to search the locker room. Before leaving, Van Pelt sarcastically gives him some very specific advice on how to improve his team's performance. In the locker room, Rigsby finds a bloodstained jersey inside Cody's locker. The garment is immediately seized and sent for forensic analysis, becoming a key piece of evidence. Back at the station, Lisbon obtains a search warrant for Tamsin Dove's house. This time, Patrick gets the green light to open the door. When they enter, the scene is completely unexpected. Tamsin is sitting calmly at a table, with tea served and cookies arranged as if she were expecting guests. She welcomes them with a smile and invites them to sit down. Tamsin explains that she knew the CBI would eventually show up. She says the murder was staged to look like a witchcraft ritual, and since she is the only witch in town, the conclusion was obvious. While Patrick seems intrigued and almost amused by the occult atmosphere, Cho is visibly tense, wishing he could be anywhere else. Tamsin reveals that she has become friends with several boys from the neighborhood, since they are attracted to the mystery and darkness of black magic. She insists that the boys had nothing to do with Cody's death, and that they were the ones who found the body while they were in the woods collecting herbs for her. She shows them jars filled with herbs and supposed potions, and explains that a witch is actually a Wiccan priestess, part of a religion focused on healing and balance, although she admits that it also includes spells. When asked about the curse she placed on Cody, Tamsin claims that she believed he had stolen, tortured, and killed her cat, and therefore deserved to die. Without hesitation, she admits that she cast a deadly spell on him, something she has done before, although she says this is the first time it worked. She says she knows details about the murder that never appeared in the press because her friends told her. Patrick quickly realizes that she means Clyde, the boy with the pink bicycle, and the other two boys. Meanwhile, at CBI headquarters, Van Pelt and Rigsby question Coach Dieter again. Forensic results reveal that the blood on Cody's jersey belongs to the coach. Dieter admits that they argued and that Cody threw a punch at him, even injuring him, but he minimizes the incident, saying it was nothing important and that he never reported it because he was embarrassed. He also mentions another fight. Cody brutally attacked Daniel Brown, leaving him unconscious. Back with Tamsin, she explains that deadly spells are kept secret, but she demonstrates something similar. To Cho's horror and Patrick's amusement, she performs a ritual directly on Cho, making him even more nervous. When Lisbon tells her she is still a suspect, Tamsin insists that someone staged the crime to frame her. As they leave, Patrick admits that Tamsin knows more than she is saying, but he does not believe she is the killer. Cho, however, is still clearly affected by the spell, and Patrick tries to reassure him while gently making fun of the situation. The next morning, Cho and Rigsby wait outside the school to speak with Daniel Brown. Cho is still clearly bothered by having been the target of an alleged black magic spell, and he has not been able to get it out of his mind. When they finally locate Daniel and approach him, the boy runs away. After a brief chase, they manage to stop him and take him to CBI headquarters. Rigsby handles the interrogation while Cho and Patrick watch from behind the glass. Daniel denies that Cody ever beat him brutally. He claims they only argued and that he was hurt a little. Patrick waits impatiently for the right moment to step in. Finally, he enters the room, calmly introduces himself, and takes Daniel's hand, placing one finger over his pulse while speaking in a quiet, almost hypnotic voice. Patrick asks Daniel what he said to make Cody so angry. Daniel admits that he insulted Cody's family, causing him to lose control. Cody smashed a beer bottle over his head and knocked him unconscious. His friends had to hold Cody back to stop him from continuing the beating. Patrick then goes further and asks how much money the Elkins paid him to keep quiet. Daniel denies it at first, but Jane makes it clear that he knows he is lying. Finally, Daniel admits that he received $1,000. Patrick and Cho return to the Elkins house. Michael and Janice ask why Tamsin Dove has not been arrested. Patrick explains that casting a spell is not a crime, since it is protected by the First Amendment as freedom of expression. Cho changes the subject and asks about Cody's history of violence. At that moment, Patrick sees Brad leaving the house and decides to follow him, while Cho continues speaking with the parents. Patrick finds Brad locked inside a shed, isolated and lost in thought. In a gentle tone, he begins gaining the boy's trust. Meanwhile, inside the house, Michael admits that he paid Daniel Brown to hide the fight. He explains that Cody had a real chance of earning a sports scholarship, and they did not want to ruin his future. They insist it was an isolated incident. Once Patrick has established a connection with Brad, he asks him directly about Tamsin's cat. Brad is surprised and says he is not sure Cody killed it. At that moment, Michael enters the shed furiously and orders Patrick not to speak to his son again without permission. Patrick leaves, but he has already planted the necessary doubt. That night, Van Pelt and Rigsby watch the Elkins house. They see Brad take his bicycle and leave. They discreetly follow him to Tamsin Dove's house. Van Pelt calls Lisbon, who passes the information to Patrick. Jane tells them to wait 10 minutes before intervening. Inside the house, a ritual is taking place. Several people are participating. Tamsin is wearing a hooded robe. As everyone chants, Brad, shirtless and blindfolded, is led to a table. Tamsin takes out a dagger, dips it into a liquid, and splashes Brad's chest while reciting a spell. Just as she appears ready to stab him, Van Pelt and Rigsby burst in with their weapons drawn. Tamsin drops the knife. Brad protests angrily and demands that they leave them alone. Tamsin is taken to CBI headquarters. Patrick questions her and shows her a file revealing her true identity. Sarah Jones, from New Jersey. Tamsin simply says that Sarah Jones is dead. Patrick makes it clear that he does not want to hurt her, but that they are dealing with a homicide. Finally, she confesses that Brad has been an apprentice in her coven for months, and that the ritual was one of purification. She also reveals that Brad's parents reacted violently when they discovered his relationship with her, and even threatened to kill her. Even so, she insists that she did not kill Cody. Rigsby gives Lisbon a key piece of information. Brad has been hospitalized twice in the past year, supposedly because of rough games with his brother. Lisbon and Patrick question Brad. He firmly denies killing Cody and insists that his brother never intentionally hurt him. When they ask why he spent so much time with Tamsin despite his family's disapproval, Brad simply answers that he felt safe there. Cho interrupts to announce that the Elkins have arrived to pick up Brad. Patrick asks to speak with the entire family first. During the conversation, Patrick sets his trap, planting silence, looks, and doubt. Shortly afterward, Tamsin is released, and Patrick advises her to stay away from Brad for a while. That same night, Lisbon and Patrick watch the Elkins house. They see Michael's truck leave and follow it to a wooded area. There, they watch him bury a large wrench. At that moment, they surround him and turn on their headlights. Michael has nowhere to escape. At headquarters, Michael denies any involvement, even when confronted with the forensic evidence found on the wrench and reports confirming abuse against his wife and children. Patrick thinks out loud. Janice and Brad love him so much that they refuse to accept the truth. Finally, Michael breaks down and confesses. During an argument, Cody confronted him about the abuse against Brad. Michael lost control and beat Cody to death, claiming that he was only defending himself because his son attacked him first. After Michael's arrest, Patrick approaches Janice and Brad to comfort them. Janice breaks down in tears, devastated, while Brad remains silent, finally facing the truth. If you enjoyed this episode, don't stop here. Head over to my channel and check out the complete playlist of The Mentalist, with every episode organized in order from beginning to end. Watch the full series, follow Patrick Jane's journey, and discover all the hidden details, mysteries, and secrets along the way. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more.